Hey everybody, how are you doing today? We are here for our American Wine Journey podcast where we're going to be pairing wine with Thanksgiving dinner. Now keep in mind, we're not going to be doing the green bean casserole thing here. We're just going to be doing turkeys. Turkeys we're going to go smoked, we're going to do fried, and we're going to do baked or roasted. And we'll have a little stuffing in there just so we can show what that tastes like. But we're first thing we want to do is acknowledge the people who made the turkeys.
Absolutely.
So Diane made the roasted turkey. That's my wife, Diane, and she's part of Journey more often. And my son, eldest, he actually fried the turkey. And we did pick up the smoked turkey from Harvest Market, and that was actually made from Koch's farm in Pennsylvania here. So it's all locally sourced and put together. We're co-sponsoring 1723 Vineyards, right?
Sure. Hey, man, Gary, so great to be here. Thank you for having me in your home, and happy Thanksgiving in advance.
Exactly.
What a wonderful afternoon to be here.
It's like a week and a half. And
you can't see, it's a perfect setting here with the leaves and big trees in the background and warm, cozy home.
Right.
Awesome.
Since we're in the mid-Atlantic, it kind of lends to all that color and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Oh, and before I forget to get too far in here, it's the caveat and the requirement of you got to drink responsibly. No matter what you do, drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink in anything illegal or whatever. Just have fun drinking, but don't do anything wrong. So you got that. All right, let's get started here. So we have in front of us, we have a sampling of smoked turkey, and we're going to start off with, and here's what's going to be interesting with this is that we're not going in any particular order that people think you would go in.
Yeah.
So we're going in, we're doing the smoked turkey, which probably has a lot of flavor. We're going with the fried turkey, and then we're hitting the roasted turkey. And you might think, well, they have differential flavors. Well, that's, but guess what? That's how Thanksgiving dinner actually works.
That's the thing. Everything's out of order. It's usually a smorgasbord. Sorry, I didn't get
Nope.
And so I think, I was telling Gary before we started, when I have Thanksgiving, I'll have multiple wines in front of me, not because I'm trying to consume too much, but with different bites, I want, the ability to have a different wine that might go with that particular bite, because as we all know in Thanksgiving, you're mixing it up sometimes.
Right. Yeah. So, it's one of those things where you just want to make sure that you've got, what you've got on the table for wine is what you're going to be drinking. You're going to be happy with that.
Yeah.
And that's the key, right?
Yeah.
So... So you may hear some noise in the background, and that's okay too, because they're still dealing with stuff, right?
Yeah,
they're still dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna start. We're gonna take a little bite of turkey, and then we're gonna have some of this. So describe the wine here, Ben.
Yep. Sorry, I just took a bite.
That's okay. Oh yeah.
That's what I was supposed to do. 2019 Cab Franc from our winery, 1723. Franc, I think, is great for Thanksgiving because it's a medium-bodied wine, and it's going to, without too much acidity.
Yep.
It's definitely going to appeal to a red wine drinker, but you also have got something there that, a white wine drinker can enjoy some of. Now, they may not drink a bottle. Well, shouldn't drink a bottle of it, but they're gonna. It's got some crossover appeal.
So it's not too heavy, so that somebody who says, "Oh, I like I'm more of a Pinot Noir person,"
Right.
then that it's going to definitely work in there, and somebody who likes a Cabernet Sauvignon, they're going to like this as well.
It goes really well with smoked meats, which is why when we talked about pairing, I said, let's pair this with the smoked version of the turkey. So yeah, it just any kind of smoked meat it works really well with. So if you're big into smoking, definitely want something like this or this wine, whatever. But you need something that's like this one has a lot of cherry, which I think, especially if you're smoking with cherry wood and things like that, works really well. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good pairing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm liking
It's a really good turkey.
I'm liking how that works.
It's so tender.
Yeah, it's really
Moist.
Oh, the turkey's not bad either. So yeah, the turkey. You're right. I think it was done with cherry wood.
Yeah, that's why getting a lot of cherry notes on the wine. It's a very complimentary
Yeah.
pairing.
So I'm thinking here. I'm trying to nail down the seasoning on the turkey as well.
Yeah, I don't know. But I will say that your typical barbecue pairings work really well with a medium-bodied wine. So cumin and paprika and all those sorts of things that at least maybe even a little bit of brown sugar, that kind of stuff will go well with a wine like this. I don't have a bottle. I was going to bring it another wine, another cultivar. Sometimes we call them varietals, but to be technically correct, they're really cultivars. Barbera can work really well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's an acidic wine. It's an acidic red, medium bodied. Like Wayvine makes a good one.
Yeah.
We've got I've got a bottle of wine that I'm going to open. The exact mix of cultivars they use over there is closely kept secret, but I think they use a lot of Barbera, which makes their wines work well for these kinds of meals.
Which brings up a good point. That's from Wayvine. Zach over there, he does a great job with the
Barbera,
the different reds he has and the the rosés and whatnot. But all of these wines, with the exception of a couple of them, you can buy locally. And the reality of it is and if it's not a local wine, like we have, the next wine that we're going to try is going to be a Cabernet Sauvignon, but it's from California.
Yeah.
So so we're going to try that one. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's already open.
Yeah, great.
It's already open. So we'll
Great.
yeah, I think we got to actually
Make room for it.
yeah, we're finish.
Yeah, can I get a
Finish, yeah.
Yeah, I might. Sometimes I like to pour more. It's not that my eyes are too big for my stomach.
I did notice that you had like
Well, I like to be able to swirl it, and I like to be able to.
Yeah,
there's
no.
something about I can take a full sip. I do like when I taste. I will almost always pour more than I anticipate tasting because
Okay.
for me works that way.
Gotcha.
Excuse me.
All right. I hope we don't have to have any medical attention.
No, just had a cough. Oh, good. That's perfect. Thank you. All right.
Well, I finished mine, so
There you go.
but I don't have to drive either.
Yeah, you're at home.
I'm all good. So life is good for me for that. Yeah. So that was good. The Cab Franc was good. Now we have a California Cab Sauvignon. So I'm not sure exactly.
What region this comes from?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. It's somewhere in
California.
Yeah, Fairville. Yeah,
Fairfield.
Fairfield. Sorry about that.
Imolo Winery. I think this is in the Suisun Valley.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know that. You guys would need to double check me on that. I think that's one valley over from Napa.
Yeah.
It's an emerging wine region.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
nothing's emerging in California, but I mean that's just like it all started in Napa, but then it went to Sonoma, went to even the Anderson Valley, the Suisun Valley is kind of the next one on the map.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's funny how big wine has become in California because you've got you've got the Santa Ynez Valley, you've got the Paso Robles area, so you've got the Sonoma Valley, Napa Valley, and so they've got wine almost everywhere they can grow it at this stage.
Yeah.
All right, this
definitely. I bet you money. It's the Suisun Valley. It's a good wine. It's from a really hot. It's a hot climate region clearly, and Suisun's a little hotter than Napa. And what makes that nice though is it creates a very rounded wine. And it creates the perception of sweetness. Now this is a dry wine, but you get a higher alcohol content, and the higher alcohol. It creates a perception of sweetness in many cases. So I'm not saying this is a sweet wine. I'm just saying this is a nice round wine. It's real approachable, and that's the thing you want. I think in any Thanksgiving lineup is you want some wines that are pretty approachable because not everybody there is going to be a hardcore wine drinker, And
True.
I think you want everybody to have a very pleasant experience. Say, oh yeah, the wine's nice, and so this is a wine that certainly will work with. I was surprised actually. It doesn't have a. The tannins are real soft and they're real round.
Absolutely,
the tannin would be, the tannins would be. What vintage is this?
it's not coming.
20. It's a 20. Yeah. So especially for a relatively young wine, I'm surprised the tannins aren't more pronounced. But I mean that in a good way. I think this works really well with this style of wine, sorry, this type of meal versus steak or lamb or something. I think actually if you're going to go with a big California red, I think this is actually a perfect California red to go with. All this Thanksgiving stuff, because the one that had more tannin, it's going to clash with a lot of those other things like those sweet potatoes and all that kind of stuff. This
Exactly,
really nice
exactly.
choice.
And I was thinking, for a Cab Sav,
Really nice
it's
choice.
not as huge as a normal Cab Sav is.
Well,
and you can, and that's what you're talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
the Cab Sav itself could overpower the entire meal if you
this one,
if you got
this
the
one
wrong
doesn't.
one.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of them will. And I saw where you were
And
pairing this.
so-
I'm like, well, okay, we'll go with it. But like, I should have trusted you, man. This one's really no.
Right?
this
I'm
is
like,
really-
okay.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing is you don't know. That's why I think people want to are interested in this type of content because they want everything to go well. They're entertaining,
Yeah.
or even if it's just
Right.
themselves, they put a lot of work into the meal, and you want it to be right.
Yeah,
And
so
this is a really good one.
So the key with that is not so, and that's the key with all of these. These are easily attainable wines, so you want to make sure that you're just thinking about what you're going to actually have for dinner and how that's going to pair. So now you're looking at it and going, okay, so I can actually do a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
But I have to make sure it's on the lighter side and
right.
not with not as much tannins, which this one actually does allow for us.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely try it. Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Either drink what we suggest or try it ahead of time. One of the two.
Right. There you go. So that's another way to do it. Okay, so we're helping you kind of try and figure it out, but you can also do some of your own trial and error and and find the one that you like.
Hopefully, our commentary here helps folks think through what at least we would suggest they be looking for in wine. Of course, what could be more fun than going to the liquor store or going to 1723 or going to Wayvine and picking up several and then deciding what would be the perfect pairing for your meal.
So yeah, that turned out all right. I'm really happy with that.
I'm really impressed with that. It's great.
So I'm going to hand you that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Apparently you're doing the pouring this time around.
I like
Oh,
it.
do we have to? Oh, what's our next opening?
This is the
That's the fried.
Okay, great.
So we're opening up.
Let's do the well, what did you choose? I chose
The Pinot Noir. We have a Willamette Valley Pinot Noir.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll get the Vala one open here too.
There you go. Oh yeah. Vala's another.
Yeah, local winery. I think for most of us, they're growing grapes and making wine here in PA. I mean, these guys we really
Nice.
Look up to just because. I would say that Tony Vitri over there in Vala kind of put premium Pennsylvania wines on the map. I mean, there's a storied history here of winemaking that goes back,
And they've been there
hundreds
for a
of
while.
years, but I'm saying in terms of premium dry wines, I
Yeah.
mean, Tony kind of put it on the map. And this wine that we're about to try here is something he calls Silk, which is called a Rosado, which is like a barrel aged. It's kind of a crossover wine. It's the only way I know how to describe it. It's a little more than a rosé, but it's not really a red. I've been told it's free run Barbera. I don't know if that's really true.
Really?
He
Okay,
did not,
so
he did not tell me that. That's the
Okay,
rumor in
all
the
right.
industry.
Oh,
So
okay.
They're not. Don't quote me on that. But that's what I've heard is free run Barbera. Meaning free run when you go to press the grapes. This is the stuff that just naturally comes out. So it'd be the lighter end of it. What I can tell you is in their tasting room, they do offer this slightly chilled. I don't have it chilled today. A lot of people really like it chilled, slightly chilled.
Oh, that's an interesting.
Chilled reds are all the rage these days.
Yeah.
Like in anywhere you go, wine bars, whatever. Like Zach, our buddy Zach Wilson over at Wayvine, he was telling me that they're serving a Cab Sauv that's chilled, and it's in the summer months, and it's doing really well in terms of popularity.
So I will, honestly, I'll drink a Cab Sav until it gets to about 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And then, all right, I got to lighten up at some point. But even if it's a good breeze and shady, I might even drink a Cab Sauv. But, a slightly chilled Cab Sauv. And I mean, we're not talking about like 38 degrees.
No.
We're probably talking, the mid to high 50s with just enough to take like the warmth off of it, if you will. But it actually does, bring another level to it. Oh, look, I love that.
Oh, that color is amazing.
This is why it's called
Yeah.
Silk, by the way.
Yeah,
It's
that
called
color's
Silk
amazing.
because of this color.
Yeah.
And it is just, yeah. So I've actually had this as well.
I moved here. We moved here. Sarah and I moved here 12 years ago. I've had every vintage that he's put out, this, and I think all of his wines for that matter, in that 12-year period of time. He doesn't put out one every year, but I'm saying like, I don't know how many vintages that is. I've had at least 7 or 8 different vintages of this wine that he makes, and this is the best
Right.
one. They're all really good, but like the one he's selling now to me is the best one that's been made. So this is it's a unique wine. Again, it's a medium, very medium to light bodied red. It's real spicy, which is
It is
I should
very
say real-
spicy.
it is nice and spicy, not spicy in an off-putting way, but
Right.
it's got some spice to it, which I'm not sure how he pulls it off. I don't feel like Barbera. So that may not be true, right? Because
Right.
Barbera is not, to me, an inherently spicy grape, but it has really nice acidity, which is something you're looking for with any kind of Thanksgiving meal to cut through all that stuff. So that's why I chose it for the fried turkey, because typically fried turkey, and Gary Jr. I think did the same thing. It's you rub it, you put a
Right.
rub on it, and it's often pretty similar to a barbecue rub, and so.
He did. He put, so it has some spices, garlic, ginger powder, and and then in the actual peanut oil is a rosemary and garlic. So you just have a whole thing of garlic, throw it in there, the 2 halves, and you put some rosemary in there, and it kind of makes a different. It gives that influence on the back end of the taste when you're doing that.
Yeah, that's really, really nice. Works really well.
Which you want. You want a wine to match the actual turkey, because that,
That's your centerpiece. I mean, typically
Right.
for most people, that's your. And here's the thing I would say too. I neglected to mention this earlier. If you're thinking about some additional proteins, like you can look at me, shocker. I'm big on pork. I'm big on beef too. I come from a 5th generation family of beef farmers. But I'm really big on pork, and so we always have a ham too. I may or may not even do a turkey. I mean, it's kind of nice to have one for tradition's sake, but like I really like smoking hams, and like
Right.
that Cab Franc, and I think this Silk both would work really, really well with.
Yeah.
In fact, I know the Franc works well with a ham, because that's what I will be drinking. But the Silk works really well with ham too, especially a smoked ham, because you typically got that glaze on the outside.
Yeah.
And you need something, if a wine, and that California Cab would work, but like one from, I don't know, like I like Heights or something like that. That's got a lot of tannin or broth, or I'm just thinking about the ones you typically see in the liquor store. That's going to have too much tannin to work with something sweet.
Exactly. Too
Because
much.
That ham's got that sweet,
Right.
that syrup or that glaze on the outside. But these wines, basically any of these 3 wines would work well with ham too.
So, if we can talk in philosophically vague terms, you want something that doesn't count, that doesn't, it kind of counteracts the flavor, but blends at the same time. So you want to choose something that's not going to overpower, or it's not going to be overpowered. And that's the key, right? So we're looking at different wines to make sure that doesn't happen within the the confines of what we're eating.
I always talk about it in terms of complementary and contrasting pairings, and you're right. You don't want to go too far either way, but like if you've got a buttery dish, like this Chardonnay that we're going to try in a bit from California, it's going to be typically pretty oaky and buttery in a good way.
Yep.
That's going to be great that's a complementary buttery dish pairing. That wine will struggle to be contrasting to something.
Right,
A contrasting pairing is something where you find an acidic white wine that will cut through the butter.
Right.
And both can work. I'm just saying, but you kind of there's 2 different ways to roll. And like what you were saying earlier, sometimes it can do a little bit of both, which is really nice.
Well, yeah.
The Silk is one that can kind of do some of both. It's got some softness and some roundness up front, creaminess. But the finish is a little bit more acidic. So It's a chameleon. This wine is
Yeah,
a, it's
yeah.
a, cham- is a, it is
So-
a unique. I've been around the damn world. It's a unique wine.
It sneaks up on you. It really does
It's a
because
unique
you're
wine.
expecting it to be one thing and it becomes something else as you're drinking it. And to your point earlier, you were saying sometimes a big contrast actually works.
Yeah.
Like in our burger pairing, right?
Yeah.
We use the port with the blue cheese, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, what?
Yeah.
And that actually paired incredibly well, which was a fairly not a shocker in a sense.
I'd done it before,
mean,
so I knew it was going to work.
knew,
But I could tell you
yeah.
didn't think it was going to work, but it did. But I only thought it worked because I'd seen it done before. In the UK, the UK like their blue cheeses,
Right.
they like their port. And I'd seen it work over there.
Because that's dessert for them.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And
So I had a leg up on that.
So he did have a leg up on it in that regard, but I trust Ben because when he throws out something that doesn't seem to work, it's probably going to work.
I'm not making it up. Believe me,
Yeah,
if it's off the wall, trust me, I've.
But I love that,
I've already figured it out.
And that's what helps people understand is that you don't always have to go with the tried and true.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to mix stuff up.
We're looking at so we're talking about one meat right here. We're talking about turkey only.
Yeah.
And we have paired that up with 6 different wines. Now we're on our 4th wine, but we've paired it up with 6 different wines.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. So we're showing you different understandings of how those wines actually work with the food that you're eating. And this is turkey. So I got to have another bite of this.
I have to remind myself not to eat it all because we have 2 wines we're doing with each other.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
We should have fed you some more smoked turkey.
No, oh my gosh, I'm so fat. I don't need it. Oh wow, this got a nice nose. So perhaps you'd care to talk about this wine? This
Yeah. So this is from Natalie's Vineyard. We were out in Oregon, not this year, but last year. And we were just doing some wine tastings around the area in Willamette Valley. And it's Willamette, damn it. That's how you remember. In Willamette Valley. And this is during the COVID restrictions, where in that particular area, you had to have a reservation. So we had to get a reservation. And when we went there, we were literally the only 2 people in the entire tasting room. Yeah. And until another winery came in and was doing a tasting in their tasting room, which was pretty cool because that happens a lot. I mean, you're in the industry. It goes back and forth.
We go check everybody else's stuff out.
Right.
One, it's a lot more fun to go to somebody else's winery because you're not working.
Yeah,
if you're in your own winery, you're working.
So. And that's the whole point, right? So the other group had their own room, and Diane and I had our own room, and I mean, you could fit probably a good 30 people in the room that we were in. And so we got a really good understanding of this. Now, this is a boutique winery. I mean, these guys, I think, are probably a lot smaller than 1723.
We're not big.
And so, when you look at it, you're going, okay, so what are they going to have to offer? So when you have a winery that small, you've got to bring it out. You've got to bring it out. And so this is their Pinot Noir.
That's good.
And They have I think they have a Cabernet Sauvignon. I want to say they have a Sangiovese too. Yeah, they have a Sangiovese.
Yeah, Newburgh.
And so it's in the Newburgh area of Oregon. So it's a really nice wine. It's not it's a good Pinot because it's got flavor. But it's not like lacking.
Yeah.
Like some Pinots can be, because my taste, we talked about this before we started the podcast. We were sitting here talking about taste buds, and everybody's taste buds drive what you like. Now that's the interesting part right there, right?
Yeah.
So we can match up all you want, but when you're looking at all these different opportunities to pair wine with Thanksgiving dinner, you want what you like as well.
Yeah.
So now you have 6 choices, plus you have the opportunity to find out other, to experiment on your own. But, when you're looking at taste buds, I prefer like bolder, like really flavorful reds. And this one it's a Pinot Noir, which doesn't typically fit that.
I can see why you like this one. This one's good. I mean, the tannins, it's got more tannin than a lot of average, I shouldn't say, than the typical Pinot Noir, not average implies, but it has a lot more tannin than the typical Pinot Noir. But it does work. I do think this works best with the turkey you put it with, which is the fried one, because you've got the spices, and it's going to be it's not going to be the buttery one, right?
So it's a good balance.
Yeah,
to
I think this one works well with this turkey.
dude.
You know,
I'm so far behind you.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
think,
pick up my.
no, it's good, and I think it would work with the smoked one too. I don't will with the oven baked one. I don't know if it would work as well, but that's the whole point. Is you paired it with this one. I think you chose the right turkey to pair it with,
And that's the key, right? So you look at what you've got. We have more
Sure,
turkey.
why not?
So yeah,
more of the fried one, please.
I still have some smoked and fried, so I'm
I
good.
ate all mine.
I'm good. No. I think we have plenty of fried. We have a huge turkey that my son actually fried
Looks wonderful. It smells great
in
too.
the driveway.
It smells
He
great out there.
succeeded in not burning out down the woods, which was that's a big plus. And he made some good turkey, so that was good too. So yeah, and so now you're thinking, okay, so
Thank you so much.
this is why this works, right?
Yeah. Let's get, I'll get some skin on this one too.
Oh yeah, the skin is really good because it offers you that extra bit of flavor. I mean, it's got good flavor, just the meat, but when you have the skin, it adds a little bit of extra flavor. So yeah, both of these wines really worked well. They paired well, and they're almost completely different wines in a sense.
They are. That's the thing. The silk one's round, and it's has a perception of sweetness. This one's very dry. This one I think works well for the turkey you paired it with.
Yeah, I'm not. No, it might go with the smoked turkey, but with the roast turkey,
exactly.
it might not.
That's the whole point, right?
Because it's too much, I think, for the roast turkey.
Agree, but this works well for this particular.
Yeah, I'm going to actually try it.
preparation.
I have a little bit of smoked turkey left. I'm going to give it a try, just to see what it's like. Looks like we have the roasted turkey coming.
Thank you so much.
This is so good. Sorry to eat Thanksgiving dinner in front of you. Now you'll notice one thing, that we're focusing specifically on turkey, and not like your green bean casserole and the yams or sweet potatoes with the with the marshmallows, right? Sweet potato marshmallow thing.
Yeah.
We're focusing basically on the turkey itself.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good. So which one do we choose? Let's go with the 1723 first.
Let's do it.
Okay.
We've got some new glasses here too.
Oh, that's an interesting with the smoked turkey.
Yeah.
So I'm going to finish off the smoked turkey. You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Off camera. He went off camera to grab glass. Which is all good, right? Because that's the way it is. I did not hear the carver, the electric carver. He didn't use it, did he? Okay. Oh, did you hear that? That's the pop of a cork.
Kind of like a champagne cork, but it's not.
Okay. So here's what's interesting. Our family has had all three of these turkeys at any given Thanksgiving. And I don't know that we've had smoked and fried. We had smoked and fried once.
Smoked it ourselves.
Yeah, we smoked it ourselves, and that was amazing. We ended up I think we gave the smoker away to the Garage, which is a local nonprofit that benefits kids after school.
I thought you just meant you abandoned it in the garage.
Well, I did that.
There's some problem with it.
I actually did abandon it in the garage first, and then we gifted it because I think we had two smokers, and the second one we only used once.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
So this wine, 1723 Chardonnay, it's actually the reserve of the 22. We just rolled this out to Wine Club. I chose it because it is it's floral aromas. It's got about 10% muscat blended in with it. Actually, it's co-fermented, so it creates muscat's high in terpenes, creates a lot of floral aromas, a lot of honeysuckle, a lot of honeydew melon. So I felt like, especially for a baked turkey, this would work, because this is the going to be the Diane likes it.
Oh, the Chardonnay is definitely good. Now, is this an oaked wine?
Nope.
See, that's
I don't do
so
any-
we want to bring
I
that in. We want to help you understand that you don't have to have an oaked wine. You don't have to have an unoaked wine. It's just a question of what your preference is for the meal that you're eating. So,
does this contrasts? This is a contrasting pairing, which is the acidity from the wine. Kind of re-cleanses your palate after you eat the turkey.
ooh, this goes well.
Goes well with the stuffing too.
This goes well. Goes well with the stuffing too. Someone said, the creator of the stuffing.
It is wonderful stuffing. I'm not kidding. It was really, really good.
It needs to be cooked a little bit more.
I don't think so. I love it because it's so moist.
So the stuffing is Diane Moore's recipe.
No, it's really. I'm serious, really good.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're kind enough, you'll post it for the listeners.
Or just selfishly keep it for ourselves.
Yeah, that works pretty well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It actually goes really, really well with the stuffing. Holy mackerel. I did not see that coming.
Oh, I mean, this kind of wine works really well across all your different dishes. That's why we've got it in the tasting room
Yeah.
Sarah's got a 3-pack with Albarino just to start with, to drink standalone. This to kind of go with all your sides and starters and all that stuff, and then a Franc to to have with your turkey. But to me, I'd want this wine and whether it's ours or some other medium bodied wine like the Silk, side by side. So as you kind of work through your meal, you can kind of pick and choose which sip you want to take. I mean, that's just how I roll.
Yeah.
At Thanksgiving.
So
It doesn't mean you have to drink a lot.
All
You
right,
can
so
still pour
there's
yourself a small portion, but
there's the other one right there. That is the other clue right there. So you don't have to stick with one wine.
yeah.
You can actually switch it up in the middle of the meal. You can start with whatever you want, and with whatever you want. And if you'll notice, we actually started heavier to lighter with what we're drinking today. So we actually went against the typical lighter to heavier.
I felt like we could, just because there's nothing in the Thanksgiving world that I would consider to be super heavy food.
Right. But it's on purpose.
Right, on purpose.
We chose to do that so that we could show that there's that scenario where you can get different wines in different perspectives.
Absolutely.
And you want to make sure that you are just enjoying it.
You want more stuff?
Right? Enjoying it.
Eating our turkey too.
And we have more.
Oh, I'm on the. I ate it all, and now I have to try another wine. So yes, I need that. Sorry,
No problem.
I'm not very good at. I'm getting caught up in the moment here.
That's okay. I can get you more.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with getting caught up in the moment. Oh, and by the way, we don't have gravy on this, but the gravy enhances it even to the next level. So,
Absolutely.
I typically, by the way, after Thanksgiving, what I'll do is I'll take the turkey and the stuffing, mix it with the gravy, heat it up, and that's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. But
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Luis Obispo. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, perhaps after quaffing your wine there, you would care to enlighten us about this one.
yeah. So this is a really cool Chardonnay from California as well.
It's a cool region. It's down south of
Thank you.
the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I know you know. I mean, obviously you've been there, but
Yeah, so this is a well oaked wine. So you're going to get a lot of oak influence. You got a lot of flavor because of the oak.
thank you.
I feel like I should be eating faster,
Well, I have a tendency to eat fast.
but then
I'm good.
you all right, man?
I just have a little thing in my throat all day. It's all good.
Oh, so you know what?
Lime.
I have a feeling that if we let this warm up,
Yeah.
it would like go to the next level.
Well, that's why I wanted that Chardonnay. I served that at, I'd say it's about 55 degrees right now. I don't know. I took it out of the refrigerator about a year ago, or an hour ago. Okay. I made it a year ago.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So again, depending on how much of a perfectionist you are with your Thanksgiving meal, like play around with the temperatures too, because that can certainly impact the flavor profile of the wine. It certainly impacts the pairing with the food. And so just depends. Like, look, I'm not trying to make it more complicated than it needs to be, but
Right.
it is interesting to play around with that.
Yeah, yeah. So this actually is a pretty good pairing. It's a, and I feel like it'd be less light if we let it warm up a bit. But it is actually it's a great pairing. I have to confess, I like the Chardonnay a little bit better because
This is good though. It has a really nice finish. It's not over oaked. That area down there is a little cooler too, which is why
right,
it
right.
works. You know,
Okay.
I feel like a lot of California Chardonnays are just oaked, and they turn into these butter bombs.
Oh, right,
Especially the
right.
ones like from
But
true
not
from
this.
Napa.
Not
This one
this.
is wonderful because I know that area down there. It's cooler climate. It's right on the coast. It's a little further south. It's not as hot, and that's where you should be doing that to Chardonnay. You know, Chardonnay in the cooler climate is really acidic, and you need to take it through a malolactic fermentation to round it out. And you need to put it in a barrel to just kind of, give it some additional, because Chardonnay is a very neutral grape, and you need to give it something that
yeah.
barrel is kind of, we call it a blank canvas in the winemaking world.
Yes.
And this one's a really well done wine. So yeah, I do think it would benefit from being a few degrees warmer, but it is, it's got a really nice finish.
But it's blending really, really well.
Yeah.
Which, incidentally, we went to Texas at the beginning of November, and we did some wine tastings in Texas. And you're like, wait, Texas has wine? Well, what's really interesting about that? We went to Austin. A 1 day trip out of Austin, you probably have your choice of about 100 different wineries.
Don't go to Fredericksburg.
We didn't even get to Fredericksburg because that's 2 hours away. So, at some point you have to drive back. But we went to Dripping Springs, I believe, or something like that, which is kind of west of Austin. We had a wine. It was a red wine. That thing
Yeah.
kept going for probably 5-6 seconds.
That's what this one is a wonderful.
Well, it's getting a little warmer, which is definitely adding to that finish.
I think to take away Chardonnay, which a lot of people like to do, and that's great. Get something from a cooler climate, because this goes so much better than like a Napa Butter Bomb. Like this is what a great choice. I would bet this would go well with almost any of the turkeys that we had. It certainly
Probably
goes
would,
well,
yeah.
extremely well with this turkey. Oh, sorry, with this stuffing. So this is a really nice choice. It's a really nice choice. Yeah. It's the first one I've had in a long time that wasn't like overdone.
Right, yeah.
California, like this is really good.
And that's one of the things that I look for. I was trying to find something that, because of an oaked Chardonnay, can be just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It can be, because everybody's like, oh yeah, I gotta have an oak Chardonnay. Well, frankly, you don't have to. Yes, there are some steel cask Chardonnays that are
sure.
perfectly good.
Yeah.
And obviously they're lighter, they're cleaner, but the heavily oaked Chardonnays can tend to literally take over whatever you're eating, and it's like you might as well just drink the Chardonnay and then eat.
Well,
At that point.
I think the trap they get into a lot in Napa is they're trying to make a white wine for red wine drinkers, which is big and round and just.
Yeah,
And I think that defeats the purpose of just drink a red wine. If that's what you're looking for, just drink the red wine.
just drink it.
And just embrace
agree.
it. That you like the red wine. Here, this one's really good. It reminds me more of like a Chablis style.
Oh, that's
Chardonnay.
true.
And it works really well. This is a good wine. Yeah, it's really good wine. I suspect they did not, in the winemaking world, we do something called malolactic fermentation, which is we actually introduce a bacteria to convert the malic acid into lactic acid. You think lactic acid, that's what gives it creaminess, because that's
Right.
like lactose. I suspect they did not put this all the way through that, which is actually really good because it's kept the acidity, but you've got the barrel, the oakiness that gives it some complexity
Right.
in the flavor profile.
Yeah. So it's not just like
It's pretty thoughtful winemaking, in my opinion, for whoever. Well, the good folks at Tally Vineyards. It's really good.
yeah.
Did you have you visited these folks or just know them by reputation?
Have not just
Not how you got that one.
yeah.
It's good.
Oh, so we did actually. We got this from Moore Brothers. No relation.
Oh, more of those guys are the more
They're absurd. So Moore Brothers and no
that makes all the sense in the world. They have a nicely curated selection.
so no known relation, but probably related from way back.
But perhaps distantly.
But-
yeah.
But these guys have had they have like several stores, and they literally go to each store, and they'll do a wine tasting at that store. And what happens? No, I'm sorry. They'll go to a winery, so they'll go to the boutique wineries, and all but probably, I want to say all but probably one or two of the wines that they offer are all from boutique wineries somewhere else. Okay. So they don't offer a lot from this area, but that's not a problem. I mean, most of what they offer is from Spain and Italy and France. And they offer some from California, of which this
But
came from
it'll be a
California.
region kind of off the
But
beaten path, which is
exactly.
kind of their thing, right?
It's
When
not
there's
like
these these hidden gems. They
it's
have
not a
all these-
Behringer or,
Yeah,
you know,
they have
that
all
you're-
the hidden gems there.
Yeah, exactly. So they find that stuff for you. Now we're going to be looking to do a podcast with
Fun.
Greg or Greg and Terry from from the
nice.
Moore Brothers
Lovely.
guys. Probably thinking about January for that, but hey, you know, everybody has to figure out what works in the schedule. But the reality of it is, these guys do the research for you. So you go in there, you talk to them, you say what you want, you're looking for, and Phil in Moore Brothers, he said, "Hey, you really want this? You want this Chardonnay because this is what's going to go well and it's going to pair well." And he was spot on.
Is a really good advice. Yeah, no, I was impressed with how well that, because I was impressed. Those can be. It's hard to find one that's not overdone.
I can't help myself on this though.
Yeah, so this is perhaps, Gary, you'd like to tee us up on this one.
Oh, this is another creation from Diane. The apple pie. So we're going to pair this with apple pie because guess what? It's, America is apple pie. And America is, that's one of the things that we have at Thanksgiving. So we wanted to find something from the Finger Lakes, right? An ice wine, by the way. We wanted to find an ice wine from the Finger Lakes and pair it up with some apple pie. Because when you're drinking, when you're drinking Cabernet Sauvignon, you're not going to eat apple pie.
Right. They won't work together.
And I think it was Zach's famous comment about red wines. It's not like every night people are sitting around with eating duck and drinking a
eating duck,
Cabernet
right.
Sauvignon.
Yeah,
That was a
eating
great
duck,
comment.
eating duck.
And it's true. It's true. So when you're eating an apple pie made by my wife with her recipe,
It was amazing.
well, first of all, the pie's amazing.
Yeah.
So then, we look
good
for an
too.
ice wine to pair with that because, you're looking for something that complements.
It's a really nice selection.
First of all, I love the pie. Which
Yeah,
is probably why.
this one is really good, but that pie is that's the thing. That is the thing.
And that's the key, right? So the food is something that comes from the heart. It comes from, the individual who's making it. So you want to pair that up with something that really goes with that.
Yeah.
And that's why we were looking at this kind of pairing, because we wanted to make sure that people could see, okay, so at the end of the evening, or and by the way, you could put some vanilla ice cream on this, and it would
very
go.
much so.
It would go, but vanilla ice cream gets a little bit sloppy on a podcast, so we opted not to do that. But when you're looking at
This would work really well with
So-
that too.
so one of the things that goes, with the pie is she uses not tart apples.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's a little clue.
And less sugar.
And less sugar. Sometimes she uses honey, but less sugar.
Never honey.
Never honey. Oh, sorry, never honey. Anyway, so she's hollering at me from the kitchen, which is right over there, and she's been putting together this pie recipe for a long time, which is pretty cool.
It's a wonderful pie. It's a wonderful wine too. I'm not familiar with this producer, but I'm impressed with their wine. Wagner, depending on, whether you want the traditional German pronunciation. Wagner or Wagner.
Wagner.
Anyway.
Yeah, so they're from the Finger Lakes. We figured,
really
okay,
good.
so let's let's talk about ice wine for a second.
Yeah. So,
Ice wine is really, really difficult
yeah, because
to manage.
I mean, in a traditional sense, you have to wait till after the first freeze to pick the grapes, which concentrates the remaining juices in the grapes, and then you're pressing it, and you get precious little juice, and the juices is just an incredibly high sugar level, which you ferment, but then at some point the fermentation has to stop because the alcohol content gets too high.
Like alcohol, like distilled liquor.
16% is as high as commercial yeast can go,
Yeah.
and indigenous.
Wait,
yeast,
no, is it? Because check that one. I thought.
it's 15.
Oh, that one's for only 15.
I think. Let's see. You can stop it too, but
But the key is, what happens here is you have to leave those grapes on the vine long enough to pick them while they're frozen. Now that's clutch.
12.9.
Yeah.
12.9.
All right. So that actually doesn't have that much.
They stopped at this one.
Yeah. They control that one.
Yeah. But anyway, they started with a wine that was really high sugar content, and they fermented it and then stopped it. But it's look, there's so much of making these ice wines is you got to balance them. So you're going through and trying to decide when you make a sweet wine like this, you have to decide when to stop the fermentation so that the residual sugar, the acidity, and the alcohol is all balanced. So it's like you got to taste them like every day, or perhaps even more often than that. But this is a nice one. A lot of it's made from Vidal Blanc up in the Finger Lakes. This one's made out of Riesling. It's really good.
And one of the problems with waiting to get
The fruit starts to rot.
it starts to rot. The birds take it over. I mean, there's a lot going on with the vineyard because by the time you get to the first freeze, which is probably now I've had some ice wines from around here, but
I'm going to tell you if you had them from around here, which is nothing wrong with this, but they picked them and took them to a freezer and simulated the first freeze. That's how you do it here. So you can do it here, but you take them to a big commercial walk-in freezer and you stick them in there, and then you create an artificial freeze.
So the story I actually heard was they did actually wait. They did actually wait for the first freeze which was like stinking January, right? Because it has to freeze the whole grape.
Yeah.
So it was January. They had like nothing left on the vines, and it was like $45 a bottle because of that.
That's why you got to go to these colder climates. I mean, this region is not a region to make ice wine. You get up further north into New York in the right kind of year, meaning that winter comes early, it can work. But like so I do like Rieslings in general, especially dry ones. And, some of the best ones come from here, but in the Moselle Valley. And I saw last year they were able to make ice wine for the first time in almost 10 years because obviously the climate is warming up. Yeah. And it's not freezing early enough, but there was an early freeze last year. So true ice wine made in the classic way is an increasingly rare thing. But look, hey, there's nothing wrong with taking your grapes to a freezer and sticking them in there. Look, that's perfectly fine. It's not a cheat. It's just, but if you're getting it somewhere from other than New York or Germany, that's probably what they've done.
Yeah,
that's okay.
No, and
it's nothing. There's nothing. It's not like they put some bad chemical in the wine. They just, it's okay.
It's the process.
It's the process.
Not the timing.
Exactly. No, I mean it's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
but that's how you would pull it off.
Yeah. So if when you look at that kind of thing, so other wines do other things that, or I should say, other wineries do other practices that create that scenario that give you the wine that you like.
Yeah.
So it's not like ice. It's not like ice wine.
If we're honest about it, viticulture and winemaking is. I mean, there's a lot of manipulation.
It's a science and an art together.
This cultivation's for a word. I mean, look, you can't just let this stuff grow up in the trees and randomly pick a cluster of grapes and you have to work at it.
You can't do that.
Well, it's not going to be
Can't
very
randomly pick
good.
across.
There's nothing random in the wine world. Let me tell you, people, there's nothing random.
No, there's a lot of science that goes behind it.
Well, food science is
We've
huge.
talked about that on, I think, previous episodes.
Just
but-
from going around and hand picking the leaves off this stuff. I mean, you would just not believe the things that we do in this industry to try and make a better wine.
It's a lot of effort.
And
it's a lot of effort.
nothing's wrong with it. It's not like it's artificial or it's like we're doing something that's inherently like bad for the consumer. But there's a lot of labor that goes into it. This is not like foraging in the woods for a mushroom and then you cook it and it's good. This is not that.
Okay, so I mean, in that regard, so you're foraging through the woods for a mushroom, right? How much effort does that take?
That's a fair point. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
it's a lot of effort.
It's a lot of effort.
It's a lot of effort.
In a different kind of way.
So we have relatives who actually do that out in I think Indiana, and they're always posting pictures of their mushrooms, and it's like I'm so happy of today's yield, and they have like a dozen mushrooms, and that's all they got for one day. But it worked, right? And they got enough for the food. So the key is with all of this is that there's a lot of effort that goes into a lot of these different wines that you've just seen. There's 7 different wines that we've tasted, and we've tasted 4 different foods. So there's a lot
of effort went in the food.
Yeah, and there's a lot of effort that went into the food.
Yeah.
Thanks again for
Thank you,
Diane, my wife, and Gary, my eldest. So there's a lot that goes into all this, and so the whole key is you want to highlight the food with the best wine you can. What that means is you're picking a wine that works with the food that you've created.
Showcases your food.
Your
That's
food.
really important.
Okay.
Showcase
So it's
your food.
And that's the reality of it. You're making all this food for Thanksgiving. You're putting in all this effort. You want to have a wine that says, "Wow, this food is good."
That's right. It's a great point.
And that's the key with pairing the wine with the food is that you want to have the wine that says, "Whoa, who did this? Was this who is it? Chef Ramsay? Bobby Flav? Who was it that made this?
Yep.
And so that's the key to creating the whole environment with your wine and how you put that together. You're on the Franc now.
Back on the Franc. But
Back on the Franc.
Well said, Gary. I nothing to add there. Seriously, showcase what you do. You pick the right wine, and it will make your food the star of the show.
Right, and that's pretty.
What you want.
That's pretty cool.
Hard at it.
That's pretty cool. So, all right, are we pretty much?
I think we're done.
I think we're done. Okay, so actually, I think we finished this early because we were hungry. To be honest with you,
I was.
we were
Some wonderful
hungry,
food.
and
Stuffing's
we ate a
the
lot.
best.
We ate some good food. It was like we were like going through the food really
Kiss
quick.
up to Gary to get Diane's stuffing recipe. Really good.
Yeah. All right.
Pie's pretty good too. Pie's very good.
So write us, for the stuffing recipe because I have helped her make it, and it's not easy.
No, it's the real
I'm
deal.
telling you right.
This is the real
I have
deal.
gotten up at 6 a.m. to make stuffing for like a group of people because turkeys take time to make, right? They take time to cook.
Turkey's also a blank canvas. Needs all the things to go on the side, just like
Right?
Chardonnay. It's
So
blank
if you
canvas,
stuff,
and
which
stuff on the side.
which is interesting because if you stuff the turkey, that adds flavor to the turkey itself, right? So that's another key.
Yeah.
If you don't have stuffing, then that's that's possibly a different wine than we've chosen.
Yeah.
So, again, it's some of this is what we're suggesting. Some of it is trial and error for you.
Yeah.
But, and the key is, again, to highlight what you've made because that's what you want people to be impressed about when they've come and when they've left.
Yeah.
When they leave, they were like, holy mackerel, they made some really good food. And part of that may have been the wine that you chose.
Yeah.
So, we're just trying to help you out on that. And I think we're in pretty good shape, right?
Good shape, man.
All right,
It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
We're going to wrap this up. So, thanks again for having us here. It's 1723 and Journey More Often, co-hosting American Wine Journey. And we're going to be actually back to talk about some things, maybe a little charcuterie board with some chocolate in the winter. So tune in and we'll see what happens. Next month, we may have a little bourbon tasting in December to talk about how to talk bourbon and whiskey and how that works in your flavor profile. So until then, we appreciate everything that everybody has done and
Journey more often.
enjoy life.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Oh, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, of course. So happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy life. Journey more often. And until the next time, appreciate it. All right.